Alright, y'all. Let's forget about ESPN and all the other media outlets' roster rankings. The Las Vegas Raiders roster was good enough to go through all that adversity and still make the playoffs last year. They were one play away from beating the eventual Super Bowl participant Cincinnati Bengals too. And all they did was make that roster even better with all the moves they made this offseason. Then of course there are the new coaches that are figured to be much better than what was there last year. So the question now is it possible for the Raiders to put it all together enough to be contenders this year? Well, let's look at a few deciding factors involved here. Defensive coordinator is a pretty big factor, isn't it? Rob Ryan, who's on the defensive staff now, is the last good defensive coordinator the Raiders had, and that was in 2007, so it's been a long time. Too bad the Raiders didn't have today's offense with that defense. But they do have Patrick Graham to try to get the defense going in the right direction this year. Graham is a master game planner and good at making in-game adjustments. Another thing is if his guys don't do certain things well, he'll do something else. He's not a slave to any system. He's learned well under Bill Belichick, but he's never had the personnel to put a great unit out there or even be able to do the things he likes. If you didn't see yesterday's video, Graham likes to blitz and he loves to play man coverage, and he did both with the Miami Dolphins, but not so much with the New York Giants. With all the players the Raiders got this offseason, Graham should be able to do what he likes and do it well, so I don't believe we have to worry about him sitting back in the zone all day. We already know the Raiders will have heat coming off the edges with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones in the fold. They're going to have 10 sacks apiece this year if they stay healthy regardless. But if interior defensive lineman Bilal Nichols can bring the heat from the interior, watch out. Nichols is by no means a household name. He was overshadowed by guys like Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, and Akeem Hicks, but gradually worked his way into the starting lineup and became a big contributor to the Chicago Bears defense. So GM Dave Ziegler signed him as an ascending player that should only get better in 2022. So while the pass rush will be that much better if Nichols can bring the heat from inside, I can't help but mention Darius Feylin, who was a beast down the stretch last year for the Raiders. But the thing we want to know about Feylin is how are things coming with his patellar tendon injury? If Feylin isn't ready for training camp, when will he be? Then there's the Ndamukong Suh thing. But as of right now, the interior rush is all up to Nichols. As I said earlier, Graham loves to run man coverage, but needs the personnel to do so. That's why the Raiders went out and got guys like Anthony Everett, Darius Phillips, and Rock Ya-Sin. All three are ascending players. Sin is in the lead of those three, but Everett is on his heels to start on the other side of Trayvon Mullen, whom the Raiders really need to get healthy and stay healthy. Mullen is the most talented press man corner on the team and one of the most talented press man corners in the league. If he can stay healthy, he'll get more opportunities in man coverage than his previous two defensive coordinators combined to give him. That is, if he and the rest of the guys can handle it, because Graham will switch if it's not working. But that isn't the issue, because Mullen has always showed up and showed out in man coverage. He just hasn't been in it enough. So the real question here is he healthy and ready to go? Meanwhile, I believe we can count on slot corner Nate Hobbs making that jump to year 2 and having another good year. The progress of young safeties Jonathan Abram and Trayvon Merrick are big factors too. Especially Abram, because no one Raiders defensive player still on the team has hurt the Raiders any more than Abram has. In the running game, he needs to stay in his gap and break down to make tackles. Missed tackles are especially what he needs to improve being a safety. When he's on the back end, bad plays get much worse when he misses tackles. He seems to have gotten better at the actual covering part of man coverage, but has to make the play on the ball. Otherwise, he'll need to be the robber in deep half when the Raiders are in man coverage. Merrick had a good, promising rookie year where he showed a lot of range. But one thing he has to do is hold on to more of his opportunities for interceptions. In this super tough AFC West the Raiders are in, Merrick has to capitalize on as many opportunities as he can and get those all-important turnovers. So hopefully his jump to year 2 will include that. Now for the offense. We already know what the Raiders have with quarterback Derek Carr, the slot receiver Hunter Renfrow, and tight end Darren Waller. The running game should also be great with Josh Jacobs and Zamir White in the fold. But what really needs to pop right away is Carr's connection with receiver Devonta Adams. Those in the media that like the Raiders and actually give them a chance to succeed this year do so because of the addition of Adams. Adams is simply the best receiver in the game with a complete number one receiver skill set. He's the best route runner in the NFL. He has great hands. He can finish catches through contact. He can beat you deep. And at 6'1" with the 40-inch vertical leap, he can win on 50-50 balls in the red zone. Having a guy like that gives you a chance to have an elite offense. So if his connection to Carr from their Fresno State days is still there, the Raiders will have that elite offense, and the defense will only need to be in the middle of the pack for the Raiders to contend. That Carr to Adams connection is likely still intact because they work together every offseason except for the previous two. Plus they're working on it as we speak so they can iron out those final details in training camp. But in order for it to have a chance, pass protection has to be there. We already know what left tackle Colt Miller is, so the Raiders are good there. Left guard John Simpson and center Andre James improved a ton over the second half of last season, and they should only get better. Right guard Denzel Good should make it back to his spot this year, so right tackle is the question. And it looks like the Raiders believe 2021 first-round pick Alex Leatherwood is the answer. He only had 4 games at right tackle last year, but it didn't look pretty. So needless to say, they need Leatherwood to take a quantum leap to year 2. If he does, this Raider team is going somewhere this season. I know this is a lot of pressure to put on a young player that didn't do well last season, but it is what it is. The Raiders absolutely need Leatherwood to come through. The Raiders haven't had a good defensive coordinator in a long time, but now they do in Patrick Graham. And guess what? He has some pieces now. And I don't just mean good players. I mean guys that can come in and do the things that he likes to do on defense. And of course, big factors on how good that defense will be are Bilal Nichols with that inside rush, Trayvon Mullen's health at corner, and Trayvon Merrick and Jonathan Abrams' progress at safety. And on offense, the Carr to Adams connection has to get going right away, and Leatherwood has to protect the right edge. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.